Good afternoon. This is All India Radio. I'm Anuja Kumar and with me is Tanvi Taneja with the Midday News. The headlines. Monsoon session of Parliament begins. To work in 2 shifts amid COVID-19. Prime Minister Narendra Modi expresses confidence that Parliament will send the message in one voice that it is standing solidly behind soldiers. Election Commission team on a 2-day visit to Bihar to review the preparedness for the upcoming assembly polls. COVID-19 recovery rate improves to 78%. Japan's ruling party elects Yoshihide Suga as its new leader to succeed Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. And Home Minister Amit Shah says, with new education policy, there will be a parallel development of Hindi and other Indian languages. Monsoon session of Parliament began this morning. In view of the COVID-19 pandemic, the session is being held in 2 shifts, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. and 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. Except today, the Rajya Sabha will sit in the morning shift and the Lok Sabha will sit in the evening shift. The session will take up 47 items during its 18 sittings till the 1st of October. It will take up 11 bills to replace the ordinances. These include the Farmers' Produce Trade and Commerce Promotion and Facilitation Bill 2020, the Indian Medicine Central Council Amendment Bill 2020, the Essential Commodities Amendment Bill 2020, the Banking Regulation Amendment Bill 2020, and Epidemic Diseases Amendment Bill 2020, and the Salary and Allowances of Ministers Amendment Bill 2020. Some other new bills are also likely to be introduced for consideration and passage during this session. These include the Factoring Regulation Amendment Bill 2020, the Pension Fund Regulatory and Development Authority Amendment Bill 2020, the National Commission for Allied and Healthcare Professions Bill 2020, the Government of National Capital Territory of Delhi Amendment Bill 2020, the Foreign Contribution Regulation Amendment Bill 2020, the Juvenile Justice, Care and Protection of Children Amendment Bill 2020 and the Jammu and Kashmir Official Language Bill 2020. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has expressed confidence that Parliament will give the message in one voice that it is standing solidly behind soldiers guarding our borders. Speaking to media before beginning of the monsoon session this morning, Mr. Modi said the soldiers are protecting the borders of our country and all MPs are united in supporting our soldiers.
आज जब हमारी सेना के वीर जवान सीमा पर डटे हुए हैं, जिस विश्वास के साथ वो खड़े हैं, मातृभूमि की रक्षा के लिए डटे हुए, ये सदन भी, सदन के सभी सदस्य एक स्वर से, एक भाव से, एक भावना से, एक संकल्प से वो संदेश देंगे, सेना के जवानों के पीछे देश खड़ा है.
The Prime Minister said many important issues will be debated in the Parliament and the more the debate happens, the better it is. Mr. Modi expressed confidence that all MPs will collectively do value addition to discussions on several subjects.
इस सत्र में कई महत्वपूर्ण निर्णय होंगे, अनेक विषयों पर चर्चा होगी और हम सबका अनुभव है कि लोकसभा में जितनी ज्यादा चर्चा होती है, जितनी गहन चर्चा होती है, जितनी विविधताओं से भरी चर्चा होती है, उतना सदन को भी, विषय वस्तु को भी और देश को भी बहुत लाभ होता है. इस बार भी उस महान परंपरा में हम सभी सांसद मिलकर के वैल्यू एडिशन करेंगे, ऐसा मेरा विश्वास है.
As soon as the House assembled for the first time since the coronavirus outbreak, Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla paid glowing tributes to the departed leaders and security personnel who laid down their lives while protecting the nation since March. Birla also remembered corona warriors like doctors, nurses, sanitation workers, police personnel and voluntary workers who died while fighting the pandemic. The first of its kind monsoon session being held amid the COVID-19 pandemic saw members sporting masks and following social distancing guidelines while attending the proceedings. The 18-day session is being held amid unprecedented precautionary measures in view of COVID-19. MPs attending the House had to undergo a COVID test, and only those with a negative report were allowed to sit in the House. The security and secretarial staff in Parliament also had to take coronavirus tests before their entry. The chambers of both houses and the galleries are being used for the session, and big screens have been installed to enable members to witness proceedings. Lok Sabha was adjourned for an hour today after paying tributes to former President Pranab Mukherjee, sitting MP H. Vasantakumar, eminent vocalist Pandit Jasraj, and 13 former members including Lalji Tandon, Ajit Jogi and Chetan Chauhan. The fourth session of 17th Lok Sabha witnessed a heated start when it reconvened after paying tributes and making obituary references. The opposition, including the Congress, the CPM, the TMC and the AIMIM, demanded that the question hour should be allowed in the current session. Union Parliamentary Affairs Minister Prahlad Joshi in his reply said that in an extraordinary situation due to COVID-19 pandemic, when the state legislative assemblies are also not able to convene normal sessions, the Parliament is holding a session for 18 consecutive days. He asserted that the government is not running away from answering any question and urged the members to use various other available ways to put forth their questions in light of the testing times due to the viral pandemic. Mr. Joshi said the current session is being held under special circumstances and the government is ready for any discussion.
Farmers' Agreement on Price Assurance and Farm Services Bill was introduced in the Lok Sabha. Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar sought to introduce the Farmers' Empowerment and Protection Agreement on Price Assurance and Farm Services Bill 2020.
इस अध्यादेश के माध्यम से खेती और कृषि के क्षेत्र में और किसान की स्थिति में क्रांतिकारी बदलाव आने वाला है। किसान जब फसल अपनी मंडी में किसी व्यापारी को बेच देता है तो व्यापारी उस फसल का क्या करेगा, कहां बेचेगा, कितने भाव पर बेचेगा, किस राज्य में बेचेगा, ये व्यापारी को तो पूरी आजादी है, लेकिन किसान जो देश का सबसे बड़ा उत्पादन करता है उसको अपने उत्पादन का बेचने का मूल्य तय करने का, स्थान तय करने का, कैसे बेचेगा ये तय करने का आज तक अधिकार नहीं था। मैं समझता हूं इस अध्यादेश के माध्यम से ये आजादी पूरे देश को मिलने वाली है।
Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, Swagata Ray and Shashi Tharoor opposed the introduction of the bill. Shashi Tharoor asked why it was necessary to bring an ordinance when it had nothing to do with the COVID-19 pandemic. Gaurav Gogoi said the government is grabbing the rights of farmers and handing it over to corporates and claimed the government had deliberately removed MSP from the bill. The bill was introduced through voice vote. Our correspondent Saubhagya Kar who was present in the media gallery to witness the Lok Sabha proceedings, has sent us this report.
It was different altogether. From the entrance of the Parliament complex to the media gallery, entry happened after showing the negative COVID-19 report. Needless to say, wearing a mask was compulsory. Over 4,000 people, including MPs and staff, have been tested for COVID-19. Touch-free security, thermal scanning, everything was put in place. Lok Sabha MPs were sitting in a staggered way in chambers of both the houses. MPs were also sitting in galleries to maintain physical distancing. Members registered their attendance in a specially designed mobile app. From the media gallery, we could see seats of MPs numbered and separated with polycarbon seats. A rare sight. MPs addressed the chair while seated. With Anand Chaturvedi, Saubhagya Kar, Air News, Delhi.
Today, the Rajya Sabha proceedings will be conducted between 3 p.m. and 7 p.m. Proceedings will be held for both the houses on Saturday and Sunday too. During Zero Hour, DMK MP T.R. Balu drew attention to the plight of 12 NEET aspirants in Tamil Nadu who died by suicide. Mr. Balu said they had cleared the +2 in the state board and NEET is being conducted only as per the CBSE syllabus. He said within a month after the +2 results, they have to take the NEET exam and they are clueless. Mr. Balu said without knowing any subject matter of the CBSE syllabus, students are helpless and committing suicide. He lamented that the future doctors of India have committed suicide.
In Bihar, a two-member team of Election Commission reached Patna this morning on a two-day visit to review preparedness for the upcoming assembly elections. The assembly election in Bihar is due in October-November as the tenure of the current assembly is scheduled to end on November 29th. The team, which includes Deputy Election Commissioners Sudeep Jain and Chandrabhushan Kumar, held review meeting at Muzaffarpur with the concerned officials of 12 districts including Darbhanga, Madhubani and Sitamarhi. The Election Commission team discussed the prevailing flood and COVID situation in the state and has directed the concerned officials to take all preventive measures to contain the pandemic during the election process. The team also stressed the need to make people aware of the precautions to be taken during campaigning and casting their votes. In the afternoon, the team will hold review meeting in Patna with DMs and SPs of 7 districts including Nalanda, Bhojpur and Buxar. After the meeting, the team will meet the Director General of Police. Tomorrow, the team will hold review meeting at Bhagalpur and Bodh Gaya. Before returning to Delhi, the Election Commission team will meet with Chief Secretary and other senior officials in Patna. The 3-day brief session of the Tamil Nadu Assembly began in Chennai today. After the House assembled at 10 this morning at Kalaivanar Hall, Speaker P. Dhanapal read obituary references to pay homage to 23 former members who passed away after the end of the last session. Later, resolutions expressing condolences on the demise of the former President Pranab Mukherjee, sitting MLA J. Amabalagan of the DMK and sitting Lok Sabha member and former member of the Assembly H. Vasant Kumar of the Congress were passed. After that, the House was adjourned for the day. For the next 2 days, the Assembly will commence at 10 a.m. with the question hour, debates on NEET, Environment Impact Assessment Bill, National Education Policy 2020 and a host of other issues are expected to take place.
The Tamil Nadu principal opposition leader and DMK President M.K. Stalin charged the AIADMK of being indifferent to the plight of the students over NEET. Talking to reporters outside the State Assembly this morning, he said the ruling party did not make efforts to give pressure to the centre to dispense with the NEET for undergraduate medical admissions in the state. Mr. Stalin's remarks come in the wake of the 3 students registered for the NEET dying by suicide just a day before the exam. NEET continues to be a major issue in the state, where almost all parties are demanding the scrapping of the exam, saying it poses undue burden on the students. They demand medical admission based on the +2 scores. Mr. Stalin also said more than 15 private bills and adjournment motions have been submitted by his party members to the Speaker. He expressed doubts over taking up all the motions in the limited period of 2 days.
You are listening to the Midday News on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Monsoon session of Parliament begins to work in 2 shifts amid COVID-19. Prime Minister Narendra Modi expresses confidence that Parliament will send the message in one voice that it is standing solidly behind soldiers. Election Commission team on a 2-day visit to Bihar to review preparedness for the upcoming assembly polls. COVID-19 recovery rate improves to 78%. Japan's ruling party elects Yoshihide Suga as its new leader to succeed Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. And Home Minister Amit Shah says with new education policy, there will be parallel development of Hindi and other Indian languages.
All India Radio presents World News. News and views from across the globe. What happened? What is up next? The newsmakers and the highlights of the day. Every day at 10:20 p.m. in the night. On 100.1 FM, All India Radio. The government today said the country's COVID-19 recovery rate has reached 78%. During the last 24 hours, more than 77,000 COVID patients have recovered. The Health Ministry said the total number of recoveries has reached over 37,80,000. The constantly increasing recoveries have ensured that the actual caseload of the country has reduced and currently comprises only 20.36% of the total positive cases. Currently, India's case fatality rate is at 1.64%. 1.4%, which is one of the lowest globally. In the last 24 hours, 1,136 deaths have been reported, taking the toll to 79,722. According to the ICMR, during the last 24 hours, more than 9,78,000 tests have been conducted. Fresh cases of COVID-19 continue to increase in Himachal Pradesh. The state recorded 326 new cases during the last 24 hours. Total number of active cases has crossed 3,364 in the state so far, while the total number of confirmed COVID-19 cases in Himachal now stands at 9,555. 75 people have also died due to the infection. About 7,000 people have been cured after treatment.
In Karnataka, the number of active COVID cases has increased to 99,203 and the number of total discharged cases has also improved to 3,52,958. Bengaluru has surpassed Mumbai in terms of positive cases. More from our correspondent.
With 30,316 active cases of COVID-19 and around 2,000 cases reported on daily basis from last few days, Mumbai continues to be one of the worst hit cities in the country. However, the city civic body says that further opening of the economy in phase 4 and the recently concluded Ganesh festival celebration are two.
Bengaluru has reported 1,70,662 COVID positive cases till the last report came in, surpassing Mumbai that earlier had the highest caseload in the country. However, in terms of recovery and deaths due to COVID, Bengaluru has remained below the figures of Mumbai. In Mumbai, those recovered are 1,30,016 and those in Karnataka are 1,27,132. Mumbai has reported 8,109 deaths, which is much higher than 2,437 COVID deaths in Bengaluru. In an effort to bring down the fatality rate from 1.5% to below 1%, the Bruhat Bengaluru Mahanagara Palike has been making constant efforts to increase testing and improve contact tracing. The positivity rate that was 24% in July and 13% in the last month has now come down to 12%. Sudhindra, AIR News, Bengaluru.
In Gujarat, more than 94,000 COVID-19 patients have recovered and discharged from hospitals till now. According to the State Health Department, 1,205 patients recovered yesterday. Our correspondent reports that Ahmedabad police has launched drives against violators of the compulsory mask rule. A report.
Despite an increase in fine from Rs 500 to Rs 1,000 last month, the many people in Ahmedabad are not following compulsory mask rules. Police have launched the drive against such rule breakers since last 1 week. Private vehicles are being stopped on certain points for checking whether compulsory mask rule followed or not by the commuters. According to sources, Ahmedabad police had fined 1,520 violators and collected more than Rs 15 lakh as fine on Sunday. Police are also pursuing the people not to take the coronavirus infection lightly. Yogesh Pandya, AIR News, Ahmedabad.
In Mumbai, with the spurt in number of cases of COVID-19, the MCGM has attributed the rise of numbers to the scaling up of testing in the city. The Municipal Corporation of Greater Mumbai said with the easing of restrictions under Phase 4 of Mission Begin Again and 10-day Ganesh festival that concluded earlier this month, the infection rate grew steadily. At present, the recovery rate of Mumbai district is 77% and there has been 1.24% rise in cases since over a week. Our Mumbai correspondent has the details.
With 30,316 active cases of COVID-19 and around 2,000 cases reported on daily basis from last few days, Mumbai continues to be one of the worst hit cities in the country. However, the city civic body says that further opening of the economy in phase 4 and the recently concluded Ganesh festival celebration are two main reasons why the infection rate has gone up. An official of the MCGM said that the civic authorities will conduct more aggressive testing from tomorrow onwards under the mission My Family, My Responsibility. Apart from doing screening, oxygen levels of people would be checked with the help of oximeters. Pamphlets enlisting the do's and don'ts will be distributed among each household. He said earlier 7,000 to 8,000 tests were done daily, but now it has been further ramped up to almost 15,000. In order to crack a whip on people who violate COVID-19 protocols by not wearing masks, the MCGM has already started collecting fine from violators. Kunal Shinde, AIR News, Mumbai.
Hindi Divas is being celebrated across the country today. It was on this day in 1949 that the Constituent Assembly adopted Hindi, written in Devanagari script, as the official language of the country. Today, Hindi is one of the widely spoken languages in the world and the first language of more than 520 million people. The government has taken several steps to promote the Rajbhasha, and at the international forums, Hindi is being well received. The pioneer was the former Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee, whose address to the UN General Assembly is still recalled by one and all. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has congratulated and extended best wishes to the people on the occasion of Hindi Divas. In a tweet, Mr. Modi congratulated all the linguists who contributed to the development of Hindi. Home Minister Amit Shah has expressed his gratitude to all those who contributed to the strengthening of the Hindi language. In a tweet, Mr. Shah said, "The greatest strength of Hindi is its scientificness, originality and simplicity." He said with the new education policy of Narendra Modi government, there will be a parallel development of Hindi and other Indian languages. Home Minister appealed to people of the country to contribute towards promotion and protection of Hindi language along with their mother tongue.
सांस्कृतिक व भाषाई विविधता से भरे इस गौरवशाली देश में पूरब से पश्चिम और उत्तर से दक्षिण के बीच सदियों से कई भाषाओं ने संपर्क बनाए रखने का काम किया है। हिंदी इसमें प्रमुख भाषा रही है और ये योगदान जो हिंदी का है, इसको देश के कई नेताओं ने समय समय पर सराहा है और हिंदी ने भारत को एकता के सूत्र में पिरोने का काम किया है। हिंदी भाषा और बाकी सारी भारतीय भाषाओं ने मिलकर भारत की सांस्कृतिक विविधता को आगे ले जाने में बहुत बड़ा योगदान दी है।
The BJP has launched a week-long campaign, namely Seva Saptah, to mark the 70th birthday of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, which falls on the 17th of this month. Various social initiatives are being undertaken by the party leaders and workers across the country. Party National President JP Nadda launched the campaign at Chaprauli village in Uttar Pradesh's Gautam Budh Nagar district. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will share his thoughts with the people in the country and abroad in his Man Ki Baat program on All India Radio on 27th of this month. It will be the 69th episode of the monthly radio program. In a tweet, Mr. Modi said, "The greatest strength of Man Ki Baat is the diverse range of inputs received from people across the country." He said people can share their views on the Namo app or MyGov open forum. Mr. Modi said they can also dial the toll-free number 1800117800 and record their message.
In our series on Mahatma Gandhi, today we have a brief story about Mahatma's biggest weapon against oppression, the Satyagraha. The term Satyagraha was coined and developed by Mahatma Gandhi. Satyagraha is a Sanskrit word which means holding on to truth firmly. It is a form of non-violent civil resistance. Mahatma Gandhi firmly believed that means and ends are inseparable from the theory of Satyagraha. According to Gandhiji, the means used to obtain an end are wrapped up in and attached to that end. Therefore, it is contradictory to try to use unjust means to obtain justice or to try to use violence to obtain peace. More from our correspondent.
Mahatma Gandhi had said that all satyagraha and fasting is a species of tyaga. It depends for its effects, open and expression of whole, some public opinions, sown of all bitterness. Gandhiji insisted that non-violence is infinitely superior to violence and that satyagraha can reach society of all levels, political, economic and moral. Gandhiji's grandson Arun Manilal Gandhi explains it beautifully, saying satyagraha is the pursuit of truth. He had said Mahatma Gandhi believed that truth should be the cornerstone of everybody's life and that we must dedicate our lives to pursuing truth, to finding out the truth in our lives. With Dipendra Kumar, Anupam Mishra, AR News, Delhi.
In our series on Atmanirbhar Bharat today, we bring you a special story on an interactive app for children, Kutuki Kids Learning App. The app was one of the winners in Atmanirbhar App Challenge. Kutuki app is made by educators for Indian preschoolers in LKG, UKG, playgroup and nursery. The research has showed that preschool kids learn best with the help of stories and rhymes, especially when these are from settling familiar to this child. Kutuki stories and rhymes are made in India. They are set in India and are filled with Indian culture, Indian values. Kutuki Kids Learning app is available in Hindi, English, Marathi, Tamil and Kannada.
Japan's ruling Liberal Democratic Party today elected Yoshihide Suga as its new leader. In the party election to pick a successor to Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, Suga received 377 votes. Shinzo Abe announced his resignation last month due to health problems. The other two contenders received a combined 157 votes. Suga is currently the Chief Cabinet Secretary of Abe's government, and he will then be confirmed as Prime Minister by a special session of the country's parliament on Wednesday. Union Youth Affairs and Sports Minister Kiran Rijiju today laid foundation stones for various sporting facilities at the cost of over 12 crore rupees in Leh today. The minister laid foundation for a synthetic track and AstroTurf for football in Leh at an open stadium. Speaking on the occasion, Mr. Kiran Rijiju said that under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, the union government is inculcating a sporting culture in the country, which in turn keeps the people healthy and fit.
तो इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर की दृष्टि से आज जिम्नाजियम का ट्रैक एंड फील्ड के लिए एस्ट्रोटर्फ जो बिछाने का काम किया, ये बहुत बड़ा शुरुआत है। अगले 1 साल 2 साल तक में हम लद्दाख के अंदर में अच्छा सुविधा प्रदान करने का फैसला हमने लिया है, वो करेंगे। ये क्षेत्र को पहले भारत सरकार ने उतना ध्यान नहीं दिया, खास करके खेल कूद के क्षेत्र में युवाओं के लिए इतना सुविधा आपको मिले नहीं थे। तो इसलिए ये जो शुरुआत किया, खास करके हमारे पास में युवा खेल विभाग है, तो मेरे मंत्रालय से जो कुछ कर सकता है, मैं प्रधानमंत्री जी का जो उसका सपना को भी मैं पूरा करूंगा और लद्दाख के युवाओं का जो फ्यूचर है उसको देखते हुए भविष्य को हम उसको उपलब्धि में हम बदलना चाहते हैं।
The News Services Division of All India Radio, in its bilingual live phone-in program tonight, will bring you a special discussion on COVID-19. This can be heard on FM Gold channel and additional frequencies from 9:30 p.m. onwards. Director, All India Institute of Ayurveda, Professor Tanuja Manoj Nesari will participate in the discussion. Listeners can ask questions to the experts on toll-free telephone number 1800115767, and you can also ask questions on telephone number 011233314444 and post queries on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts by hashtag AskAIR. This program will be available on our website newsonair.com and on our YouTube channel News on AIR Official. You can listen to it on our mobile app as well, News on AIR.
Now let us take a look at the weather update for the day. National capital Delhi is expected to have generally cloudy sky with light rain or drizzle. Mumbai will have generally cloudy sky with moderate rain. The minimum temperature was recorded at 25 degrees Celsius and the maximum will be around 32 degrees. Chennai will have generally cloudy sky with light rain. The minimum temperature recorded was 24 degrees Celsius and maximum will be 30 degrees. Kolkata will have partly cloudy sky with possibility of moderate rain or thunderstorm. Minimum temperature in the metropolis was 28 degrees Celsius, while maximum will be around 34 degrees. In the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, minimum temperature in Jammu was 25 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be around 35 degrees. In Jammu, there will be mainly clear sky. Srinagar will have mainly clear sky. Minimum temperature in Srinagar was recorded at 14 degrees Celsius, while maximum is expected to be around 30 degrees. Ladakh will also have mainly clear sky. Minimum temperature was 9 degrees and maximum will be around 27 degrees Celsius. Gilgit is going to have mainly clear sky. Minimum temperature in Gilgit was 16 degrees Celsius and maximum is expected to be around 33 degrees. Muzaffarabad will have mainly clear sky. The minimum temperature was 19 degrees Celsius and maximum is expected to be around 35 degrees. In Chandigarh, the sky will be partly cloudy. Minimum temperature recorded was 27 degrees Celsius and maximum is expected to be around 35 degrees. In Dehradun, minimum and maximum temperature will hover between 24 and 31 degrees Celsius. The city is likely to have generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. In Hyderabad, minimum temperature was 21 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will go up to 26 degrees. The city will have generally cloudy sky with heavy rain. Guwahati will have generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. Minimum temperature in the city was 26 degrees Celsius. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Monsoon session of Parliament begins to work in 2 shifts amid COVID-19. Prime Minister Narendra Modi expresses confidence that Parliament will send the message in one voice that it is standing solidly behind soldiers. Election Commission team on a 2-day visit to Bihar to review the preparedness for the upcoming assembly polls. COVID-19 recovery rate improves to 78%. Japan's ruling party elects Yoshihide Suga as its new leader to succeed Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. And Home Minister Amit Shah says with new education policy, there will be parallel development of Hindi and other Indian languages. And with that, we end the midday news.